Good day and hello, besties, and welcome back. My name is Shelby Ashley, and today we are doing a post-episode discussion of the first live eviction of the summer on Big Brother 28. And I think that this week has done a lot of good side building, a lot of good setup for what we have to go into week 2, and honestly, almost anybody that wins HOH will be kind of interesting. So that's always a good thing to go into a new week of Big Brother. But before we get into the new week, we've got to talk about the end of this week. This was the first live eviction of the summer. My summer has officially super begun because Thursdays are so exciting. Ever since they started doing this blockbuster competition, or what was it called? It was AI, Ainsley, I don't remember what that competition was called, but Cyber War, I don't know. But ever since they started doing this, it's just like really renewed my love for Big Brother, because before people just kind of start talking about the next week after the veto meeting, and they would kind of like, single people out as far as the person who's going to go home is concerned, and this has just brought a really great element of surprise and more strategy into that first chunk of Big Brother. Now, let's pour one out for our homie, Ashley, R.I.P. girl. I'm pretty sure she was one of my winner picks in the cast reveal video, but I was really excited for her energy in the Big Brother house, but she kind of really did play herself, and it kind of sucks that she did so bad in that first competition because she didn't even get a chance to like really play for her safety besides tonight. But we begin this episode with Ashley freshly going on the block next to Yash and Taylor. So they will all three be playing in the Big Brother BB blockbuster, and the two who are left will be up for eviction. Julie tells us to buckle up for the most outrageous season of Big Brother, and she also says there will be no way for this eviction to get reversed, and that makes me think that there's going to be no pre-jury buyback. In my last video, I was talking about how I really think that there's going to be a buyback, a rewind, some type of thing like that this summer, and Julie is basically saying that there's not going to be one for the pre-jury, but when it comes to her interview with the evicted house guest at the end, I don't know how much I buy that. But we'll talk about that when we get to the end. So we get a Taylor DR, and she's saying that she feels okay with Ashley being on the block. Taylor ends up saying that she feels like she's trauma bonded with the have-not room and made some good connections throughout the house. So she's going to make sure that she does have the votes if it is her on the block at the end of the week. Dee says that she put Ashley up because she's not really connected, but Yash still is her target because he's really pissed at her because she put him up. Yash is in the DR saying that he's going to win this blockbuster and he's going to make sure he has the votes to stay. He ends up talking to Chuck and Kamu about the guys sticking together for the vote, and they don't want to let a guy go home. Drew later also mentions that he doesn't want a guy to go home, but I don't know how much of a front that really was from Drew. Ashley is saying that she's going to pull people for chats, and that's very Love Island of her, and she's going to fight to stay. We get a clip of Drew, Dee, and Yash talking, and again, this is Drew where he says that he doesn't want a guy to go. Dee really wants Yash to go and wants to figure out how to kind of influence Kamu to get on her side about this, because Kamu is saying to Yash that he wants to keep the guys around, but that is not what Dee wants. Then we get a melody and lyric talk. They decide that they kind of want to send Rome out to see if they have anybody to add to this little group that they're building. Melody is leaning toward voting to evict Ashley at this point. We see Rome, Lala, and Jason talking, and they're all talking in the gym, and Rome calls out Jason to go to the gym in front of everybody in the backyard, and Angela definitely sees that. But in this little meeting, we get a little flashback of the three of them forming this Mama's Angels alliance, and they are also leaning to evict Ashley. So this side of the house is kind of leaning to want Ashley out. Angela sees, Rome pulling people into the gym, and she starts feeling like she isn't part of what Rome is trying to make, and she's kind of spiraling a little bit. So she ends up pulling Kamu and is explaining how she saw Rome call people to the gym and that there's this side of the house that's forming. Kamu confronts Dee about this information because he thinks she might be a part of it, but she says she is not. And then they start thinking about who could be on the other side of the house. They talk about how Ashley isn't really a threat. Maybe she could be a number. And Yash or Taylor should probably go because they are just going to be on Rome's side of the house and not on their side of the house. Because Dee has kind of combine the Red Corner and the Crossovers, which people are calling the Red Cross. Very fun name. And so why not like bring those two groups together and then add Ashley to the mix, and then that way they have the numbers and they don't even have to worry about who's on the other side of the house because then they'll have the numbers. Then we get a clip of Ashley talking to Dee, Angela, and Drew, and these three are telling Ashley that, you know, they want to keep her, they want to help her find some votes to stay. And Ashley kind of takes this as she has the votes to stay. Oh, she's good. And then, so because she feels so safe and so good, she just ends up telling Melody basically everything. And Melody is pissed at this. And Melanie is like, what do you mean there's a side of the house? What do you mean Drew's involved in it? And Drew didn't tell her. Her and Drew are supposed to be really tight. So she ends up confronting Drew and Barrett about this while they're playing pool. And she's saying that Ashley named them, Dee, Devins, Angela, Kamu, Chuck, Haley. And they are saying that they are the votes for her to stay. The Crossovers are super disappointed in Ashley with this. They really wanted to keep her, but that is really what really puts the nail in Ashley's coffin. So Ashley needed to win this blockbuster because going into this blockbuster, Ashley needs to win it, otherwise she's leaving. And if it's between Yash and Taylor, I think that Taylor would have stayed and Yash would have been evicted. We get to the BB blockbuster. Julie is introducing everybody, and I didn't super catch what she had to say about Yash and Taylor, but she did say Ashley ate her first burger. Will she win her first blockbuster? And that kind of reminded me, I was trying to think of like a thumbnail thing, and I first thought about first burger, first boot? ? Because, you know, I made it before the episode came out, so I was just trying to anticipate. But I thought that was a funny little thing. Blockbuster competition begins. It is called Do-Over, and basically there's a series of images of house guests with different wigs from different time periods on their heads, and they are in multiple images, and these images are flashing on these multiple television screens, and the whole point is to figure out who is the house guest that is featured the most in these photos and lock that person in before somebody else can. So, you know, it begins, they run around, they stand around, they look, Julie's saying 1 minute left, 40 seconds left, you know, they're not really moving up, like, very much. It's not a very, like, fast competition. You really want to, like, stop and actually look at these images. So that's kind of what they're all doing. We get, Yash locks in Mallory first, and then Ashley and Taylor both lock in Devins. I do believe Taylor locked in Devins before Ashley did. So, if they were correct, Taylor would have won. But Mallory was the correct answer, and so Yash has won the BB Blockbuster. The first BB Blockbuster of the season. I bet that feels great. Congratulations to Yash. I swear, if you... in that competition in particular, I would have probably choked because that's just a lot of stimulation. You're counting and you're like running around, and I feel like I would not be able to like super lock in. So it's very cool that, first of all, that anybody got that correct, I think is a miracle. But it must be a little obvious though, because you know it is like a 2-minute competition, so they want to make it like you have to kind of be choosing between like 2 or 3 different people in your head, you know what I mean? So at the end of the week, we do have Taylor and Ashley on the block for eviction. At this point, there was 30 minutes left of the episode, and I was like, are we gonna get at least like the start of an HOH competition or something? but alas, no. I forgot that there's like over a dozen people that are voting, so that kind of takes a really long time. So, no, we did not get the HOH competition, spoiler alert. Even though this whole thing is kind of a spoiler alert, because I've already talked about who's left. But, so the house guests react to the winner of the blockbuster when it's announced that it's Yash. They all cheer. No one's really particularly shocked or anything like that. It's kind of like I think it's such a nothing burger because I think Ashley was such a consensus for the house. If she's on the block, then that's who's gonna go. Everybody hugs. I wrote, everybody hugs each other for what I estimate to be at least 3 more times. No, because, there's 30 minutes left. You gotta fill 10 of that with hugging. In the last moment, the eviction speeches, Ashley is saying hi to her family. She says she's gonna have serious FOMO if she leaves, and just says to do what's best for their games, and they hope it's her. Taylor also shouts out her family, and she says she wants to continue her checklist. She's mentioned this checklist multiple times, and she added to cultivating, like, not multiple times in her eviction speech, but multiple times on the feed. She wants, to make it to jury and stuff, which, yes, have a BB bucket list, I suppose, but I don't know. I just feel like, just play your game. Don't just play to jury. Anyways, that's neither here nor there. But she said she wants to continue her checklist and add to cultivating the culture of the home. And it's funny she says that because on the feeds she did say, at one point I saw her saying, a chore a day keeps the votes away. And she's just cleaning a bit of the house every day, does a chore. So I think being a good person to live with really does you well, especially in a situation like this. You see this situation that's at hand, you see that Ashley is kind of the house consensus. Just keep it under the radar and just keep doing what you're doing. Just be a good person to live with. Just blanket a little bit, if you will. So we get to the voting. I think, I don't know if it's a full moon or something, but something was up with literally everybody tonight because Julie was having fun. Everybody was just having fun. I guess because it's the first live eviction night, but Julie is having a great time cutting it up with everybody, pretty much. Jason calls Julie JCM. And he says he predicts that Crystal will win All-Stars, which I'm not really following this season of Drag Race, but if you don't even know, we don't even know who the finalists are right now, then that's a crazy spoiler. Rome and Lyric, who Julie says is in a showmantic relationship with Rome. Mallory, who is live right now. I thought that was so funny. She's like, this is live right now. Mallory live right now. I love that. They all vote to evict Ashley. And then we get the second chunk of house guests, and we get Angela, who's saying she's having so much freaking fun. Devin says he got lost on his way to Tribal. Julie says she doesn't know how she likes his bandana because it looks like a buff from Survivor. Yash says happy birthday to his mom. Is DP in DP? I don't know. I'm pretty mature. DP means something for me, but I'm sure that's not what that meant, so I don't really understand what that is. If someone could comment below, that would be amazing and tell me what he meant by that. Kamu calls Julie by her legal name, Julie Chen Moonves. And he also first votes to evict Drew, which I think he was kind of throwing some shade, honestly. And then Haley almost had me. She almost has some brownie points for me because she was kind of doing nothing. And at this point, I prefer someone who basically just says, I vote to evict so-and-so and leaves. I feel like I would try to do that, but I don't know. I probably couldn't help myself, to be so for real. So, I don't know. I can't really blame these people. Especially, you're just shouting out your family. But then she does shout out somebody, and then she lost me. Drew calls her Mrs. Moonves and says he loves her and then just screams. Lala calls her my sister from another mister, and then Julie's like, I'm gonna call you Lala now, girl. And then Lala basically says, says a preamble afterwards with shout outs, and then Chuck then Chuck goes after, and then they all are voting to evict Ashley. So Julie tells the house by a vote of 14-0, Ashley is evicted from the Big Brother house. Everyone hugs it. Ashley really does take this on the chin, goes out, and literally immediately talks to Julie. I feel like normally we go to commercial, but she's just right there talking to Julie. Ashley says that she kind of saw this coming. She says, you know, everybody fears going home first and nobody wants to be the first one. And it's like the biggest fear for you to not find your people to play with. She says she felt like she was like begging people to play with her. But Julie mentions that she did have the votes at one point. But then Ashley says that they must have just changed their mind. She doesn't really know what happened. Now, Julie, in this interview though, Julie didn't really say much about any alliance structures to her. She didn't like reveal any alliance information or any like really like, you know, game breaking information. So maybe, you know, maybe she's bluffing about someone not coming back. I'm not sure. But we'll kind of have to see what kind of exit press Ashley does tomorrow and kind of go from there. Julie tells the house guests about America voting for someone to receive a chance at the BB time capsule, and whoever is chosen gets a chance to win a power or get a punishment. If you win the challenge, then you get a power from Big Brother's past, and if you lose, you get a punishment from Big Brother's past. And it will be revealed who is the first person to do this within 24 hours in the house. And so now we're just waiting for the HOH competition. We're going to get some new nominations and just have a whole new week happening. I would love to see... I think it's easier to say who I don't want to win, because I don't want the people... I want like someone from the red corner to win, because I want a little bit of a shakeup in power. But I don't want my Devins, Angela, Dee, Drew, Barrett situation, the crossovers, in any trouble. But it would also be really interesting to see, like, man, the minute Rome gets power, Rome, I think, will realize how much sway he has in the house. And that could be a really interesting... Rome could be interesting. Him and Lyric having the HOH room is scary, feeds-wise. But Rome could be an interesting HOH. I don't know if that's like what I'm super pulling for, but while I'm thinking about it, Melody could also be one. I don't think I want to see like a Lala or a Taylor or a Jason, because I like I said, I want my crossovers to be safe. So I don't know. This cast, I'm having a lot of fun. There's not really anybody I hate. Haley, I guess, is the like house pariah, if you will. So she's probably a really, really strong, likely, at least nomination sometime next week. Her, Chuck, and Kamu are all pretty good options if the other side of the house wins HOH. But we will just have to see after tonight. Thank you so much for watching this. I will be back on Sunday after the episode, and I can't wait to see who wins HOH. We will talk all about it then. So thank you so much. Please subscribe to the channel, like this video, comment, all of that fun, juicy stuff. If you're at the end of this video, I really appreciate it. So please let me know you're here. And you can follow me anywhere at Shelby Ashley, and that first E is a 3. And I'm basically that everywhere. So I'll see you next time. Later.